Okay. We're live.
Hey.
Let me just make sure that people can see and hear us. Test, 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 test. Yeah. Okay, we can be seen but not heard, apparently. Uh-oh. Interesting. Let's see if I can fix that.
Could it be possible that the sound doesn't start until exactly?
Selena hears us just fine, Emerson. So
okay.
There we go. We are good. Sound is working. Great. Okay, I'm getting multiple confirmation that sound is working, video is working. Thank you, everyone, for confirming. Great. Well, appreciate everyone joining. We'll give people just another minute or so to trickle in here. But for those of us that are joining now, we're going to be discussing a few topics today for publishers and how we can help sustainably grow readership and increase stickiness and helping get people to come back and back again. We are joined by a rock star panel here who I will allow themselves to introduce themselves in just a minute. And for everyone that is asking, we will be sharing a recording of this event after the fact. You will automatically get an email from the Livestorm platform letting you know once that recording is available. It's not too late to share this and help get some of your coworkers to register for the webinar if they'd like to join. This will be 30 minutes in length, and we, again, really appreciate everyone joining. So on that note, we'll go ahead and just kick this off. Like I said, this is being recorded, so for those that are joining a little bit later, they'll be able to watch this. So great, we'll kick off. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Like I just mentioned, the main topic of today will be discussing how not only to sustainably grow readership for publishers, and I know that's something that many publishers face and is something that they're constantly looking to help improve, but not only to grow that readership, but to also keep them coming back and back again to your website. So I'll allow people on the panel to introduce themselves. If you wouldn't mind starting us off, talk a little bit about yourself, your background, and a little bit about Nordot.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name is Uryu. I am the Chief Operating Officer of Nordot. I was in television broadcast for over a decade, moved to this wonderful digital world from traditional sort of media industry, and very happy to be here. Thanks so much, Pushnami, for organizing this event. A little bit about Nordot. Nordot is a content sharing platform for publishers. We connect publications through our sort of peer-to-peer style platform so that they can support each other by sharing their content and distribution channels. So that's what we do. And excited to talk about audience growth and how to increase stickiness. I think the key to succeed in audience growth is all about hedging through other like-minded publications by partnering up with them. What it means is that use their content on your site, have a system to do so, and also push your content to these publications distribution channels so that that's where your audience is, basically. I say this because I think each and individual organization-based level efforts is sort of hitting the ceiling. Because look, publications are doing everything they can, basically diversifying all the revenue possible models between ad models and subscription and going after donation and grant. But that is not seem to be enough. I think because each and own has its own issue. Say, ads are getting a little scary with the end of cookies, and then subscription doesn't really scale, right? I know that the US average person subscribes to 9 subscription services, but that does not include news, which is kind of insane and worrying. And donation and contribution offered, let's say, state or government or private companies. I think that's tricky business too, because can you really make a fair 100% non-biased reporting when you get funded from the government? Can you criticize fairly on the government policy, for example? So I think those are kind of tricky place we're in. So then where can we go from here? I think that's the question. How can we take this diversification to the next level? I think it's just through a network of other publications, which is basically collaboration among publications. I think that's where we need to be next in order to maximize your audience base.
Definitely.
And, you know, like, it's been proven, right? Collaborative journalism has been very popular. Let's say Panama Papers, for example, it's just a wonderful use case in investigative journalism, especially. But what I want to ask is, why can't we do the same for distribution level collaboration? I don't think as much as investigative journalism collaboration, we don't see that yet, which is funny, I find, because distribution is the very, very success of Google and Facebook, right? They did not produce content. They kept their costs low by not producing content at all, sourced all of that for free, and then distributed it. Distribution was the key to their success. Kept the cost low from production and just distributed. So why can't we do the same through a network of publications? Because that gives us scale, right? Each individual publication has a limit, but you can widen that network, and that's where you can widen your audience space. I think
definitely.
Yeah.
Very, very good points. Thank you, Aya.
Okay.
Andrea, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Andrea. I'm founder and CEO of RebelMouse. Before starting RebelMouse, I was CTO of Huffington Post. And when we sold the company to AOL, I ran product design and engineering for all of AOL's media properties, where it became really clear that there was this massive gap in the way that CMSs, the industry standard for CMSs, there's your own installs, your own configurations, your own updates, and a mess of plugins. And people were spending a tremendous amount of time and money and still having a product that was very hard to keep modern. The big problem is that consumers expect websites to be as good as Facebook, Twitter, and such, Instagram, or they be, and they bounce when they're not. And yet most websites don't have the money and engineering resources that a Facebook, has. So that's our mission, is making a cloud-based CMS platform and agency that helps people punch above their weight and have a product that's really fast and clean and sharp for consumers.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Emerson?
Hi, I'm Emerson Smith. I'm the CEO and founder of Pushnami. I've been involved in data and digital messaging my entire life. I started my first tech company when I was 23 out of my 6th floor walk-up in the East Village of Manhattan. And we now power digital messaging for over 20,000 websites globally. And we deliver 2.2 billion notifications a day on behalf of our clients. I'm really passionate about the news and media vertical. It's one of 13 verticals that we focus on. But personally, it is important to me. I do believe that the news should be free. I think they should be able to use the First Amendment in this country and say what they want. And I'm very excited to talk to a lot of people here because I want to help save that industry. I want to show them that there are ways to more quickly collect subscribers, to send better messaging and monetize them while providing messaging down to each individual consumer. Not just what they want to hear, because I think we all agree that the way news is going, particularly in this country, of just providing things that people want to hear is not a good thing. But giving them the topics that they're most interested in at the time that they want, using the vertical that they want to consume them in, is the most important part of that.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you all for joining. Like I said, we'll go ahead and kick off with our first topic today. And that's how to sustainably grow readership. You know, a lot of the publishers that are probably in attendance here today, you know, they're constantly trying to figure out, you know, how can I find unique, creative ways to get people interested in what I have to say and get them to keep coming back. So, Andrea, I'm interested, you know, from the perspective of someone who helps develop the user experience of many publishers' websites. Maybe you could speak about your approach to helping businesses grow their readership from a UI and interactivity perspective.
Yeah, I mean, what we've tried to focus on is social UX for media and the concept of an infinite scroll type behavior, which is what we're used to consuming on social, is that you don't reach the bottom of the page and sort of everyone said it's sort of reaching the bottom of the page is like at the party them telling you to leave now, please. So keep the party going on these article pages, turn it into a stream of content that's smart. The struggle for a lot of publishers is that, and this is a more medium-term goal for us that we're working on, is the number one thing after you get that UX right is that you try to max out how much money you can make from the site. And that is right now, this is the big problem Google's trying to push core web vitals is the better way of measuring websites. And it's a very harsh measure that's very hard to get fully green on. In part on the tech side, building that out, which we're very good at, but then you have to balance ads as well. And how quickly do they load, and are they obtrusive, and do they load dynamically and cause a content layout shift? This is the big battle for the open web now. It's like how we monetize. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter can monetize in content units that are basically all kind of premium. There's no banner ad that comes across Facebook, no interstitial, no, you know, all these other things. It's really like making content. And that's, I think, the big thing for website, the open web now in the next push to get the full page speed scores and UX as good as it can is we're in this point where first party data is more important. Third party cookies are going away, programmatic. It's like a massive, every time you think that, okay, the world settled in changes and now this is the new landscape. The landscape is changing quicker than you can see. And how websites monetize is the number one thing on our mind right now.
Yeah, great. Aya, maybe you know, you could talk a little bit about how publishers can gain more visibility to their content by increasing their exposure and finding new marketing channels. I know with Nordot, you have your very excellent network. Maybe you could talk a little bit more about that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I touched upon earlier my introduction, but really to find who your like-minded publications are, who's covering with the same philosophy, with the sort of editorial policy, and find those people and literally, you know, use their distribution, and that's how you get more exposure with the same type of audience that you're looking for your own media. That's the kind of use case that we see on Nordot. Yeah. Yeah. And the other way around too, right? Because for example, if your niche is very much a local news, but then you know that you want to have your audience spend more time on your site, then maybe you need content from, you know, entertainment. So whatever you're lacking, you might be able to source from others and then get more audience to your site beyond your niche.
Diversifying your content.
Exactly. Yeah. As long as it's complementary and aligned to your editorial, I think that's definitely beneficial.
Yeah, great. And Emerson, with browser-based push notifications, being such an effective way to engage with your audience and deliver them personalized content in a moment's notice, right? What are your thoughts on publishers being able to approach their audience from multiple marketing channels and how maybe that might help grow readership as well?
You have no choice. You either adapt to the fact that technology is getting faster and your competitors are using this technology, or you choose not to, and you may not be there in 2 years. Gathering as many subscribers as you possibly can and giving them the option to get the news in a different way is so important. And it's a constant frustration we have with people in the news and media space because they are used to going a bit slower. They are super protective of their content and site, and it concerns us. And we're trying to get them past that because they're still stuck in a world where they're treating all of their visitors like one giant person. Okay, the website has to look like this. This is the best content we want to show to everyone. And that's not how it works anymore. If you go to Google News and you're one person and another person's on a computer next to you, it's completely different, right? And it's the same thing that I was talking about with Facebook and that sort of thing. It is customized to the individual. But also, you have to not treat them so fragile these days. People are all over the internet. They know what subscribers are doing and what ads look like and whether it's too much or not enough. And all of this can be tested. But particularly with news, one of the most important things is things like browser-based push notifications are faster than email. It appears to them the next time they're online, whether they're on their mobile device or desktop, not when they're in their email checking it and they get to that thing. And with some of the news articles, they don't even care who it's from. If there has been a major world event, if Israel is declaring a ceasefire, it's whoever gets to them first. So you have to be aggressively using this technology now. And one last thing I'll say is just the implementation getting slow too. It is our slowest vertical to get them to implement right now. With other verticals, they say, yes, this is great. They go live the next day. They start collecting their subscribers. They created a new monetization channel. They're getting data, they're learning. With news, it's often sometimes taking 6 months. And it's because it has to go through an editorial team that doesn't exactly care about the monetization so much. And that's great. They should care about their product and news. But now you've just missed out on all those subscribers for the last 6 months. You've missed on the data that you could be feeding into machine learning, integrating those kind of things in. And again, it concerns us when that's not happening because it does make a difference and it makes you more competitive in all the things you do.
Great. Well, thank you all for those insightful answers. I hope that I hope that paints a better picture of growing readership for the audience. And I just wanted to point out, we will be taking questions here at the end. I will save some time for that as well. So I see that a few people have submitted some questions for us, which is great. So let's move on to the next topic. The next topic is, obviously once you've gathered that readership and you've gained that interest, how do you keep them coming back? How do you get people to continue to be a loyal reader or a loyal person that's keeping engaged with your content over and over again? And Andrea, similar to my previous question to you, from a UI and user experience perspective, how can you try to foster readership and loyalty to your website from your perspective?
So it has to, there's a few things that we've seen are very key. It definitely has to be very fast, and it has to be very good at sucking you into more content. You have to appreciate that a click is it's a lot to ask from someone compared to a scroll. If I had to click to read every story on Facebook, Facebook never would have been popular.
It's a great point.
It sounds like, how hard is a click? It's so funny, but it's like way bigger commitment a click. So if you look at, like we designed and we built the first version of Axios. And if you compare that to CNN is a zoo of links. And if you click one, God help you, you'll never find the other one that you were kind of interested in. So that's the old paradigm, and CNN has enough brand reputation and legacy that they can maintain some traffic on their homepage and their brand. But Axios grew like crazy by taking that model and making it, look, here's a stream of content you need to know. If you're in politics and you need to know what's going on, you spend your 30 minutes with us in the morning and you're going to get the stream of the most important stuff people are talking about. So I think the big mistake that people end up making is that they put design first in their UX on their website. And actually it's like move design out of the way, move content first.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other mistake is that you have to truly obsess about the stream logic. And that's where there's real magic in slight differences that can be a huge thing. So for example, like compare TikTok to Facebook. TikTok's really good at making one thing. They make lots of things, but generally they pick what's going popular. Everyone on TikTok sees it. So they have this incredible momentum of what she got, how many views and how many fans. Where Facebook, over time, they got so personalized that everything is fragmented so that everyone gets a little bit of the crack, of the drug addiction, that I got some traffic, but they rarely get the, oh my God, I was seen by everybody on Facebook today. They're both successful, but both massively different. And the big difference is the logic of the stream. Twitter's made a lot of ground up. They were kind of becoming irrelevant because their order was only recency. Only recency is not actually a very good way to order a stream. Because, and now what Twitter's done is it's much more about popularity. And what did I miss is how many likes, and to see my most recent stream, I have to go in Twitter and change the thing. So for media publishers to sort of get out of the way of the design and get into the stream, that's the lifeblood of the internet. And it's very custom and personal. You know, on this page, if I'm this type of person, when I keep scrolling, is that stream satisfying so that I keep coming back? Or did I start to feel like I got to irrelevant content for me? So streams can be personalized because I have a social graph and a following, or I have signals. That's all really interesting. But I think that's the number one thing that we see is that it's tempting to obsess on design instead of make the design simple, put your content and obsess with the stream of content that you have.
Great answer. Thank you. Aya, perhaps maybe you can take it from there. You know, what's your opinion on how publishers can improve their reader retention? You know, maybe you have like a client example or something you could share.
I hugely agree with what Andrea said, but it's literally, I think, more content. As long as it's relevant, you just want more. You want a lot of content, enough for your readers to want to stay for a long time. And that's exactly what we see in common customer, actually, between RebelMouse and Nordot. They go through a lot of stories per day. It's really effective in order to retain user engagement. So that's my take. Yeah, same as
definitely.
Andrea.
Completely agree. Emerson, this is a topic, you know, we speak a lot about at Pushnami for sure. You know, once you have your subscribers, right, how do you keep them coming back? And people are creatures of habit, right? And they'll start to seek out your content on their own once you provide them that value, right? So I guess my question to you is, you know, how can publishers try and provide that initial value, right? Like, what are your general thoughts on that?
You have to use machine learning. We're in the 21st century. There's so much data being collected, even on your own side, and whether you know it or not, you should be absorbing this and helping provide a better experience for your visitors and subscribers. So you could say, oh, these are our 5 best articles these days because they had the most views, right? Or you could use machine learning and say, this person is on their mobile device. It's Tuesday. It's the afternoon. They're located in Arizona. And they've clicked on this vertical, and this vertical. And we've seen a similar group see a spike in the last 2 hours on our website for this particular piece of content. Send them this, because this is what they want. And this is something that even if you had a room of 40 analysts working 24/7, they would never be able to drill down to. But using modern technology and machine learning, you can do this instantaneously. And I think by providing that kind of value and customization, you can get them to your site. And then the next step, as far as what Andrea is saying, is, then providing them a better interface too, that gets them to consume more once they're back in there, and getting that. And then also further what you talked about, Jack, is the more they come back, the more they will start to get to that. And I can only speak for myself, but I go to the same 4 places every morning when I want my news, because it's almost like Pavlovian for me at this point, right?
TMZ for sure.
Right, of course, right?
Of course.
But yeah, and then after that, it's whoever is getting me in certain ways, and I go from there.
Yeah, great answers all around. Thank you. Well, we do have a few minutes left here. I wanted to take some questions from the audience. If you have a question you'd like to ask the group, you're more than welcome to put that in the chat or in the questions field. I saw, Andrea, you were able to answer Selena's question already. Thank you for that. But one of the questions that we had prior to this webinar was something I wanted to ask the group. I thought all of you might have a good take on it, but someone had asked me, how can lean news and media organizations, right, those that may not have such a wide amount of infrastructure or headcount to be able to manage their marketing channels, but how can leaner organizations take an omni-channel approach to distributing their news and content in an efficient way? Whoever wants to take that one, feel free.
Well, I guess that would be us, right? That's the solution we had. So thanks for the softball there. And I'm sure you guys have other things to add. But I would like to point to one example, all right? A major organization, news organization, I'll leave their name out of it because I don't want politics to be involved in this conversation at all. But they were happy. They didn't want to listen to us. They've been doing the same thing for 8 years. They had over 300,000 active subscribers to their newsletter. They liked it. Mm-hmm. And we made them a bet. I said, look, do it this way and give us 6 weeks. And we 8x'd their revenue. This was an important revenue channel for them and crucial to them. And so the impact that this made was far reaching for their company. They then put us on all of their sites after that, almost instantaneously. And it's been a game changer, not only from how much money they're making as a company, but their advertising efforts, they're more competitive now. They can pay more for that advertising that their competitors cannot because they're making more. But it started with collecting the subscribers and maximizing the way that they're collecting subscribers on their website. So they're getting as many as possible. But then also integrating not only machine learning for the content, but showing them that you can actually integrate advertisements into this messaging as well. They didn't have any ads in their newsletter. They said, why would we do that? That's gonna bother our subscribers. We don't want to make it a problem. But we showed them using this, they actually increased their deliverability, increased their opens, had more subscribers and click rates back to their site, but also made money on advertisements inside of their digital messaging. And that's what you have to do to be competitive out there.
Yeah. Great answer. Thank you, Emerson. One question I saw we got in the chat here for Aya and Andrea, maybe either of you could take this one, but in addition to distribution being a great way to gain new audiences and diversify your content, what are some of the other benefits of doing that, right? Does it help improve your SEO in the same way that backlinking does? Is that the same as like a blog swap? Is that a way to begin a partnership with like a sister news and content company? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's purely just hedging and putting eggs in different baskets. Because, for example, like Facebook instant article, as soon as they change the algorithm, yesterday's referral traffic is not going to be there tomorrow, right? So that's really risky. I've seen so many cases where publishers saying, oh my God, they changed the algorithm and we're shutting down. So it's not going to happen when you have enough multiple baskets. I just think that the sort of network of other publications distributing through them is just a way to hedge.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in the end, SEO is, again, a bit tricky too, right? Because it's there to kind of benefit Google. So not necessarily distribution and SEO, I don't think it sort of benefits each other, but more about monetization efforts outside of your media property. That's what we see as distributions through other publications. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Anything to add to that, Andrea?
No, just agreeing. We see companies that were all focused on Facebook, and then they live and die at the whims of Facebook's algos. It's a really hard place to live. And same on, we have clients that are like, all their traffic comes from some evergreen hits from Google. And then one post changes, it can be really heartbreaking for a week's worth of revenue while that recovers. And sometimes it's like an editor's fault, change the post and why. Sometimes it's Google's algo's weird. And sometimes you win big and it's really great. But the best by far are focused on managing the complexity of multiple distribution channels. A shared client, John at Raw Story, can tell you they were so living and dying on the whims of Facebook, and now they have so many more sources of traffic, and it's a much healthier place to be as a company.
Well, great. Well, we're almost out of time here, so I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up. And I just wanted to say again, thank you to all the speakers for joining and taking time out of their busy Thursdays to speak with all of us. And I hope that for the people in attendance, this was informative and helpful. And if you liked what you heard today, let us know on social media. And you can reach out to each of the guest speakers on their Twitter handles, which is in the profile of the webinar page as well, if you have anything that you'd like to ask them. So thanks everyone for attending. We'll make sure that we get the recording out to all of you as soon as we can. And we will be in touch soon. So thanks everyone for joining, and have a great rest of your afternoon. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye all.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.